Alright, free birds, we're almost powering down the transmitter, but before we go, we got something special cooked up for you. Our writers were busy this week and wrote you a wonderful story. I hope you enjoy it. See you next week. You are listening to the adventures of Lockpick Jones. Tonight's episode: The Shadow of Scum Island. Lockpick Jones versus Tech 1. The ominous clouds hung low over Scum Island, a forsaken rock in the middle of nowhere where the world's most dangerous criminals were exiled to live out their days. Amidst the desperate and deranged inhabitants, one man stood out: Lockpick Jones, a former master thief, wrongfully imprisoned by the malevolent corporation known as Tech 1. Lockpick Jones, with his rugged features and piercing blue eyes, had a reputation for escaping the inescapable. His skills with a lock were legendary, but it was his intellect and unyielding spirit that truly set him apart. In the shadowy corners of the island, whispers of his past deeds floated like ghosts in the night. It was midnight, and the island was bathed in an eerie glow from the ever-present searchlights of Tech 1's security drones. Jones crouched behind a dilapidated shack, his eyes fixed on the distant control tower, the heart of Tech 1's operations on Scum Island. He had been planning this night for months, gathering scraps of information and forging fragile alliances with other prisoners.
Tonight's the night,
Jones muttered to himself, his voice barely audible over the howling wind. He pulled out a crude map of the island, marked with the locations of security checkpoints and patrol routes. With a final glance, he stuffed it into his pocket and slipped into the darkness. Tech 1 had turned Scum Island into a testing ground for their latest technologies, using the prisoners as unwilling guinea pigs. Jones knew that if he could reach the control tower, he might find evidence of their atrocities and a way to shut down their operations. Moving like a shadow, Jones navigated the treacherous terrain, evading drones and guards with practiced ease. His mind was a whirl of calculations, always 3 steps ahead. He reached the first checkpoint, a heavily guarded gate. With a flick of his wrist, he produced a slender piece of wire, a tool of his trade. Within moments, the lock clicked open, and he slipped through. Inside the tower, the hum of machinery and the glow of monitors greeted him. He moved stealthily, avoiding the roving guards. His destination, the central control room, where he hoped to find the information he needed. As he approached, a door slid open, revealing a vast room filled with screens and terminals. At the far end, a figure stood with their back to him, watching the monitors intently.
Lockpick Jones.
A cold, metallic voice echoed through the room. The figure turned, revealing the sinister face of Dr. Victor Kane, head of Tech 1's operations.
I knew you'd come.
Jones' eyes narrowed.
Kane, I should have known you'd be behind this.
Kane smirked, his eyes glinting with malice.
You're too late, Jones. The experiments, the data, it's all been securing you. You're just another rat in the maze.
Jones moved swiftly, pulling a small device from his belt.
Not if I can help it,
He said, pressing a button. The room was suddenly plunged into darkness as the power surged and the screens flickered off. Jones lunged forward, engaging Kane in a fierce struggle. Years of hard labor on the island had honed his skills, and he quickly gained the upper hand. Hitting Kane to the floor, Jones hissed.
This is for all the lives you've destroyed.
He bound Kane's hands with a length of wire and turned his attention to the control panel. His fingers danced over the keys, navigating the system with practiced ease. As the data began to download onto a portable drive, alarms blared throughout the facility. Jones knew he had minutes, if not seconds, before the guards arrived. He yanked the drive from the terminal and sprinted towards the exit, dragging Kane with him as a human shield. Outside, the island was in chaos. Prisoners rioting, taking advantage of the confusion. Jones fought his way through the throng, reaching the extraction point where a small boat awaited, a lifeline arranged by an ally on the outside. With Kane secured and the evidence of Tech 1's crimes in his possession, Jones cast one last look at Scum Island.
Your reign of terror ends tonight,
He muttered, stepping onto the boat. As the vessel sped away into the night, the island receded into the distance, swallowed by the darkness. Lockpick Jones had won this battle. The war against Tech 1 was far from over. He vowed to bring the corporation to its knees, one lock at a time. And thus, in the shadows of a forgotten island, a new legend was born. The legend of Lockpick Jones, the man who fought against the darkness and won. Disclaimer: the preceding story is a work of fiction. Any resemblance to actual persons, living or dead, or actual corporations, evil or otherwise, is purely coincidental. No prisoners, islands, master thieves, or malevolent corporations were harmed in the making of this tale. Lockpick Jones is not responsible for any sudden urges to unlock random objects or overthrow sinister corporate entities. Enjoy responsibly.